Over there!
We can't let him get away!
Too late, fool! You will not escape! Us? What in the name of... Gary?
I'm sorry, okay? I hadn't prepped this part of the dungeon yet. I haven't had the time.
But you don't suffer from this, do you? For more than 2 years, you've helped us to enhance our tools, grow our map libraries, and given us a warm welcome in the community of map makers and game masters. We are honored to be part of this community, and all we can say is thank you.
Bring it on.
Hello and welcome everyone. The chat has started without me and it was like, oh no, I need to chat with you and I need to control OBS and I got really confused. So, hi everyone, welcome to the Mapness. It's Thursday again. My name is Till. I'm one of the founders of DungeonFog and usually I'm using the Thursdays to build my maps for my next office game. I have an office game tomorrow, but we're not building a map for that. Maybe. What we're going to do is we're going to respond to one of the requests I received in one of the previous, I think it was one of the previous Welcome to the Mapness chats. And that was when we were talking about Fog of War. And I told you that you can do, you don't have to use a black Fog of War in the DungeonFog campaign viewer. You can use a different type, which we call a cover layer. And I promised you to show how you can do this. And so I'm using today's stream to give a rough introduction for those of you who have never played around with the campaign manager, how the campaign manager works, how you can set up your maps for a campaign manager. And once we're there, then I will show you what you can do with tokens and line of sight, and also what you can do with Fog of War. This is not going to be a full-featured tutorial on everything that the campaign manager can do. This is mainly to play around with the cover layer features from the Fog of War options in the campaign manager. But if you have any questions or if I was too fast, then just let me know in chat. And as always, I know that you're completely ignoring my request every time, but I'm trying my best. If you want to make it easier for me to catch your question, type a big capital question in front of what you're typing so I can spot it easily. Yeah, we will see if someone is doing that today. It would be a first, by the way. Which time is it at Australia? Well, I think you mean Australia because in Austria it is 8:30 p.m. So I would assume in Australia it is... Oh my god, it's 2:30 in the morning. Why are you up, Michael? You should be in bed. Question. Oh, shut up, Michael. Question. How do you stay so fabulous looking? That's really kind, but not true. I am so tired today. I don't know what happened. I think it's the weird mix of being hot all day and then the thunderstorms hit and now it's cold and I feel like I'm a zombie. Oh, Spielkiste is here too. Hi, Spielkiste. Hi, Lebitchen. Oh my god, chat is on fire. Hi, Forecaster. Varanasi. I think that's Atlantis is here. So hello everyone. Sorry if I missed one of you. Yes. Okay. So let's get things rolling, and for that let's switch to this view. Okay. I have just quickly tossed together a map that makes it easier to explain what we're going to do and how it works in DungeonFog. Okay. So let's pretend that this is actually a building, and this building has, let's at least put some tables and chairs in there, has some decoration in there, and this is at the, what I've called here, the token level. So on the outside, we can see that on the token level, we have those weird tree trunks. So why are there all those tree trunks? We will see in a second. That also would buy a DungeonFog face cream. I could release Fog of War as a type of concealer makeup. Yeah, it's the Dungeon Cream, Fog of Face. Well, we will see if you can come up with better names for that. All right, so let's just to do something here so that you can grasp what we're doing here. Let's just decorate that a little bit more, and let's go for some, I don't know, let's go for fern. Needs to load images. It's going to be a little bit like with Photoshop layers, isn't it? Yes, it is. So basically our idea is that let's put some ferns here. There are some growing outside. There might be one here. And then there's a bigger one here. So this is basically, this is the ground layer, and we can also grass. Let's go for grass. Wild grass. Let's make this softer but more opaque. Boop. Okay, so we have some grass layers here. Let's put them at the bottom. So everyone could imagine or could picture that this is the bottom layer. This is the ground floor of something that stands in the forest. Now, no one is really getting that this is a forest because people would only see tree trunks standing around. So what I did then is I've added something what I've called a canopy layer. And if I switch to the canopy layer, we can see that on the canopy layer, I have now placed some roofing for the house and some treetops. And because, and that is important, because that would actually, let me just colorize the stage so that you can see that. Because that is a separate layer, I want to make it transparent to the layer below. So I'm turning this off, and I say show stage, and there's a second option that would darken stage. I don't want that either. So now I have a canopy layer, and if I turn that one off, you can see how the canopy layer looks. The canopy layer sits on top of the token layer, and the token layer then sits beneath, and I have split between what we could call like the visual height of what the players would see. So as long as they are on the token layer, or we probably should have called that bottom layer or ground layer, as long as we're on the ground layer, this is basically what my height would allow me to see, because the tree canopies and the roof would be above me. And the trick behind that, the reason we're doing that, is because we can use those split layers to create something like a cover for Fog of War, and you will see in a second how that will look like. Thank you. So now how do we even get into playing a map through the DungeonFog viewers? How am I going to do that? Well, first of all, I'm going to save my map. That is always a very healthy recommendation. And then you find this little main menu up in the top bar, and that is campaigns. And when you go there, you will see that I have several campaigns here, and I have somewhere around here, I have also my test, and we're going to use that for now. And we can, I can't add the current map because it is already added from previously testing, so I will remove it. can't quite see the menu bar because of the overlay. Oh yeah, my apologies. Well, I was trying to be clever because I didn't want to blind you with the whiteness. So that is where you find campaigns. Here's the button. It's editor, assets, GM notes, export, campaigns. Okay, and now I will put it back up there because that looks better. Okay. So, it only took me 10 minutes to completely lose track of what I was actually trying to say. Oh, right. Campaigns. We can always create a new campaign. So if you're starting in the campaign manager, you wouldn't see any of this. You would basically see an empty thing that asks you to create a new campaign. And we're going to do this now. We're creating our FOW campaign. Campaign. Till and typing. Okay. So there it is, campaign has been created and I'm being forwarded onto the campaign manager page. And the campaign manager page basically consists of the following things. Here I can change the title. I could also upload a background image, which is just for you so that you can quickly grasp what campaign is which, just by a visual cue that you add to the campaign. Those are the campaign maps, and actually we haven't added any, so this one is empty. Here I can type campaign notes, so I could say something like, this is not really a campaign. I will not be able to type that today. Campaign. So you can delete it after the stream. Okay, and this is actually where the journal goes. So if you're running a campaign, you can take journal notes while the players are exploring your map. You can always take quick notes, and here you would see if there are already any notes existing. So what you want to do is you want to add a map, and that is, I believe I called it brush test, and I did a typo in there. So I'm going to click. And now I've added it to my campaign, which means that while I'm playing on this map, this is basically something like a quick access that shows you those are all the maps that are associated to this session or campaign or however you're treating this, which means that while you're playing, you can quickly switch between those maps. Right, so there we have it, and then we could also add a player token here, which I think I'm going to do quickly, but I will not spend too much time on this. I have a little token in my uploads that I would like to use. That one, that is usually my party token, so let's call this the party. Size is fine, border is fine, site. It has a side and it has 3 squares, just for the sake of it. We can change that whenever we like. So here you can define a token which is representing the players. So if you would have 4 players, you could create for this campaign or for this session, you could create 4 of those tokens for your players. And you can predefine them. So you can also already set the side and how do they see. What is probably you want to have party members always with a different color in the border. So you could go there and say, no, they should be something like green, whereas monsters are red, whatever you like. And that's basically what the whole shebang about the campaign manager is. This is where you add maps to your campaigns to then play on those maps. Now there is only one important thing that you need to know about campaign maps. The second you add a map to your campaign, we're creating a campaign version of that map for you. That means that if your players go on your map and they play around with the map, and you are someone who is kind of live editing what they're doing. So they're bashing through walls, they're destroying furniture, they're burning down the forest, and you're kind of, okay, let me quickly switch tokens, switch props, set this wall to invisible and all that stuff. So you're kind of following along on the map. You don't want to destroy your original map because you might want to run that map later with another party. So it would be quite unhealthy if everything that you did to your original map would persist. And that is why we're taking campaign maps and we're creating a clone out of that. And we're calling that a campaign version. And that can lead to confusion when you think of, you have the original map, you're creating a campaign version of the map, you're probably doing last edits on the campaign version, and now you have two different versions. One is the original map that you can find in the My Map section, and one is the campaign map that is only in this campaign. So there is a way, not here inside the campaign manager, but on your dashboard, there is a way to clone those campaign maps back into your My Map section. So just keep that in mind. Right, there you go. So you want to launch the game. Your players are at the table, you're ready, you want to start. So what you're going to do is you're going to open your campaign map. And there we are. And as you can see, we now have a slightly different interface and we have new options. So first of all, we're seeing that we are in the campaign manager at the moment because we see the campaign name and the map name in this little yellow area at the top. And we also have what we call the GM toolbar that has several functions to it, which is basically reveal the fog of war by rooms. So you just need to click on a room and the whole room gets revealed, or reveal the fog of war with a brush. So you just draw where the fog of war appears or disappears. You can ping. Here you have your, as you can see, I only have one map here. Here you have your quick access to the other campaign maps. Here you have your GM nodes. If you have added any GM nodes to this specific map, the GM nodes would appear here. The journal, where you can write journal notes in there. And this is where you actually invite the players. All right, but before we want to do that, I think probably let's do it for now. Let's invite a player and see what the fog of war would look like in this instance. So, inviting a player basically gives me two options. I could send a link to a player, which is basically for long distance games. So if you're not all in the same room and you want to have party members join from afar, then you can send them the link. If you're playing like we're doing here in the office, for example, if you're playing with a projector, or if you're playing on a TV, or if you have a gaming table with a built-in TV screen, or if you're using one of those newer game boards, then you can create a local player. The local player has one advantage, and that is everything happens on your PC. So there is no internet connection that kind of tries to send data across, I don't know, across different counties, different areas, probably different countries. It just takes place on your PC between one browser window and the other browser window. So the local player window is always faster and more responsive than the link will be, because the link will need to send the information from your PC to the server to the other PC and backwards. So if you are playing at home and you just want to use it as an extension to a TV screen or a projector, I would highly recommend to use the local player. Right, so we're going to open that one now. And for the sake of previewing that stuff, let me just do a quick setup here. And that is... you should see at the top now what I'm seeing or what the player would see, and we can switch around those screens. So at the top, you can see that the player is seeing nothing, which is unfortunate, but we're going to change that now. So we're going to select the token, and as you can see, I have selected the token. It's a little cut off. It feels a little cut off. Let me shift that over here. Okay. So let me just see the token, unfortunately did not save the site. So I'm going to do that now. I say the token has site, and again, I say it has 3 squares, and suddenly something is happening. Yes, something is happening. I'm not sure what is happening at the moment. Right, but what we then do is we can assign a token. So we can assign the viewport to the token, which we're going to do right now. And we're going to say we're assigning it to the token on the map. So now let me see, the token doesn't need a rotation, but can move tokens. So now I can actually, do you see my mouse? It's very tiny up here. But you can see that when I select, maybe you can't see. Let me shift that over here for a second. So you can see that when I select the token, I can actually manually move it as a player. So me as a player, I can move the token using the drag and drop or using the arrow keys. And because I've assigned the viewport to this token, the viewport will always follow with the token in the center. So whatever I do, if I run around the building, I would be like, oh yeah, I'm running around the building. As you can see, I'm just using my arrow keys to move the token. And actually, I'm currently the player, so I'm not the GM. And the player can use the arrow keys to move around the building. And I think it is, yes, it's blocked by walls, so they can't just accidentally run through walls. And I believe it is, if the door isn't locked, they can move through the door. Okay, I think that was quite easy to grasp. And all I did for that, to sum this up, was basically, let me close that window and redo that again. So when I got to the map, I selected the token. By selecting the token, I was able to activate that the token has a site. I activated that. I defined how many squares the token has in terms of site. So I could have gone like, I don't know, I think it's 199 squares is the maximum that we can do. And then I've created a player view, which meant that I have invited a player, or I have created a second tab that I can then shift to my TV, my projector, wherever I would like. And the last thing that I then did was I selected this viewport and I assigned it to a token on the map. And now this is following the token around. That's all I did. And that is how I would recommend to set up your viewport. And you can control the token as a GM just from your end as well. I can select the token and I can move it around just the same. Okay. But what we actually wanted to do is we wanted to see what happens if we use a cover level. And so we're going to do that now. And to do that, there are a few things. It's our first implementation, and it is a little bit finicky to really work it out. So apologies. I'm pretty sure that once we rework the campaign manager and the viewers, that we will find a way to make it not that complex. But there are some reasons why we did that, and we're going to see them. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to select our token level. So we need to be in the token level. We need to make sure that we haven't selected accidentally an asset or a room or a token. Nope, we want to make sure that we are on the token level. So the stage. And there you have, under Fog of War, which should be by default activated, you have something that's called cover level. And when you pick that and you set that, the option gives you all the levels that are available. I only have 2 levels here. I have the ground level and the canopy level. So if you pick the canopy level, it will then use the canopy level as a Fog of War. But for some reason, nothing is happening at the moment. Because the canopy level has its own Fog of War. So we need to really make it work, we need to go into the canopy level and we need to turn off Fog of War for the canopy level. And now, as you can see, hopefully you can see, oh, that was too much. Now, as you can see, while I move around, the Fog of War is actually overwritten by the image that was created from the top level. So the canopy level, which actually makes it doable that you could have roofs instead of Fog of War. And when I enter, and now honestly, it's from a D&D 5e perspective, they have indefinite sight range, unless it is something is blocking the vision. But for the sake of the effect right now, we're going to quickly reduce the range in squares here. We're going to say it's just 3. So as you can see, with 3 squares, this would happen if they move beneath the tree. Okay, I think you're getting it. So let's enter. Oh, I need to run around the house. Let's enter the house. And I think that is a quite cool effect because you're kind of seeing through the roof. So there's a table and you can go up to the table and investigate. And I have made a mistake on my map. My apologies. Because the effect that you're seeing here right now is this room. I forgot to hide there are walls here because I've created this round shaped room. And I just made 2 rooms. I made one here, one here. Now the line of sight is being blocked because there's actually a wall that I forgot to turn invisible. I need to turn this wall off and I need to turn this wall off. And now it's being rendered properly. So I think this is quite fancy because it allows us to play with the actual foliage over in a forest where you say, okay, or for buildings with roofs where you can say, okay, I want to use that and design that. Because I think one of the biggest disadvantages with roofs in VTTs at the moment is you as a GM, you're the only one who's seeing the roof unless your players fly on top of it. So if you're creating a building, like this and you know that this thatched roof is probably something that your players won't fly up to, you could just leave it away. Because in the VTTs that are out there at the moment, Fog of War, let's make this invisible. This is basically everything that people would see when they crawl through your beautiful buildings, and you've added the roofs just for yourself. Again, unless players fly on top of the roof, and that would be a completely different thing. By that, you can also create places that can't be watched into and places that can be. Yes, probably. Yes, you could, like, you could, again, with the, you can't define areas where the fog of war is blocked, but you can do that by creating those fake rooms, for example. Okay. Oh, yeah, right. Or by placing, by the way, I haven't tested that. I don't know what happens if I add another level. So we have the canopy level. Let's look at that. This is our canopy level. But we could actually say that this is even higher. Like this is a little clock tower. So what happens? I have no idea. We're going to see what happens. What happens if I add a new level above that we are calling clock tower? And for the sake of it, we're calling this clock tower body because that is where the tower is. And then we should probably have a next one that is the clock tower. The clock tower roof. Okay, right. So, and now we need to clean up stuff. So from the canopy level, we're going to duplicate our tower into our roof. Now I forgot where it was positioned, but we're going to find that out quite soon. This level is, this is the top of the top. Nothing is happening here. We could actually just for shits and giggles, we could place a few clouds here. Ah, we don't have clouds. We need to call them smoke. Okay. Which means, I think you've already guessed it, that we don't need a stage here. So we're turning off the stage. Now, why is that happening? I'm pretty sure you already know the answer for that. And that is because our clock tower body also has a stage at the moment. Now I've turned off the stage as well, and I hope you can still follow along because now it's getting a little bit confusing. So we have the token level, the canopy level, and on the canopy level, we don't need that anymore. We have the clock tower body, which is completely empty at the moment. We're going to change that. And the roof with the clouds up there. So for the body, I want to have, and luckily I have already prepped the circular room. I want to have a circular room on that level. Yes. I can see where we're going to run into a problem, but we will deal with that a little bit later and we can see if we can work around that. But this is not below ground, this is normal. And let's make it 10 and 10. Okay, so let's check. We have the token level, the canopy level with the roof, the clock tower body, and the clock tower roof. Okay. Now, what actually happens? The cover level now is still set as the canopy, which is this one. So it should not, if I unpause, exactly. You're seeing that up here. We don't have the clouds, we don't have the roof of the clock tower, and we don't have the tower itself. So I assume what I need to do is I need to set the clock tower roof as canopy and teach it to update. I have no idea how I'm going to do that. Freeze, unfreeze. Come on. I have the clock tower roof. Is it doing anything? None. Is it updating? I don't think so. clock tower roof. Okay, let's quickly save that. Yeah, I'm that's exactly why I'm saving, because I'm going to try a refresh now. So a refresh usually means that you might, especially with a local player, that you might need to open a new local player window, which means we're going to close that one for a second and open a new one. Bring it over here and do all the same shebangs as before. There you go. And now we're waiting on something to happen in the upper corner, and something happens. That's nice. So now we need to define that the fog of war. Oh, look at me. I just said it before and now I forgot it again myself. Every level has its own fog of war and we need to turn it off. So the canopy level, fog of war is off. The clock tower body level, fog of war needs to be off. Clock tower roof, fog of war needs to be off. Okay. And now we can refresh that and now we can see that, which is kind of confusing. What would happen instead of turning off fog of war on the cover levels? You use the fog of war brush on the cover level to remove it for only some areas. Oh right, I need to unfreeze the player. Okay, thanks for the reminder. Ben, I will come back to your question in a second. Let me just quickly see what happens. Okay, so from the outside, everything looks quite cool. I can walk around. I have the clouds being removed, so this is quite cool. Now I've moved here. Sorry, I shouldn't do that. I should do it like that. Pop, pop, pop. Now let's enter. And there you go. So we now actually have even more layers, which means that now I should be able to say, oh, I am a player that can fly, so I'm going to fly up onto the next level. As you can see up there, the player is already up there, so I need to follow him onto this one, unfreeze. And hopefully something is happening here. Yes, it is. Oh, maybe I should have. Sorry. Maybe I should have done it like that. So this is not 100% what I expected, but I am extremely stupid, I believe. Yes, because the clock tower body... Yeah, I made a layout mistake here. The clock tower body should actually be on the canopy. So this one here is... So the whole thing is useless. Yeah, now I've broken everything because I'm trying to do the same thing where I'm sending stuff from and to... Let's quit. No. Okay, let's reload. No, there's no reason why the body is actually on a separate level than the roof, because they are on the same level. So what I need to do is levels. The clock tower body level is just too much. That was overthinking. What I need to do is I need to place this on the, and we're going to rename that level. And okay, I think that was all I did for the setup. There's not even a door to enter that, but that's fine. So this is called first roof, and on the first roof is attached already the clock tower. There you go. Now I have to do all the things I did before once more. Let me just quickly, because I want to really stairs down, token level, move you out here. I'm fine with that now. Token level. I just need to start at the bottom and we're going to work our ways up there. Let me check the levels. Now we know that the Fog of War needs to be disabled here and the Fog of War needs to be disabled here. We've already done that. Perfect. The cover level is still the clock tower roof. That is also exactly what we need. So now let's bring in our new local player. Take the local player and assign it to the token. There you go. Taking the updates. That looks good. That's exactly what we wanted. So it's very small. Let's quickly shift those. I think this is for now, for the demonstration purpose, this is more interesting than the other ones, because all I'm doing is I'm selecting the token. I'm selecting the, come on. Oh, my Coke is standing there. I'm selecting the token. I'm sending it upstairs. I'm following upstairs. And I'm unfreezing. Yes, that looks much better. So now that player is actually moving on the roof here and he's approaching that. But, what I need to do for this level, oh my God. Okay, we will definitely have to make this easier in a later implementation. But I think this one needs to have a cover level that's called Clock Tower Roof. And now we're going to see what happens. I don't know. I think I need to. I think I need to. Say that's fine. Token. Assigning it to this token. That should have already happened. Yes. Okay. So, okay. So now the clock tower body has the clock tower roof as another implementation of the cover level. So you really need to work level by level with all the settings to adjust them so that it really works. I'm not 100% sure why you're not seeing the ground. I don't know. Maybe this is just, it's just not possible to render the ground below. I will ask. I can't answer it at the moment. Yeah, that's exactly the question, Forecaster. What does the bottom level look like now? Not sure why you're not seeing it. And I believe it is because we're paying attention to the upper levels, but not so much the lower levels. Or it is just something that I did wrong. I have no line of sight. You're correct. I have no line of sight. Although I've set it up. No, I have. I have line of sight because as you can see with the as you can see with the roof, it is being subtracted by line of sight, and so does the... But it's not, the problem is it's not showing the ground floor. I believe the reason for that is that the token can only see the level that it's on, which means that I would have to go to the first roof level and say show the stage. Which, is it working? Sorry, I need to think about that for a second. Is that working? Could I just duplicate the token level? If an alley is below and has sight, it will reveal the part of the bottom floor for the other players. Okay, we can test that. We can definitely test that. So just to clarify, round, no, where's my grass? Nature, forest, sci-fi. It was under nature, grass, white grass. There you go. Okay. Token level. So let's add at the token level. Wait, what? First roof, show stage, darkness stage. Why is it now showing the... Why is it doing that? I don't know that. Also, why am I'm on the wrong... There I wanted to be. Okay. Now, I think the purpose of the stream today was not to completely, utterly confuse you about stuff. I was just curious to figure out if you can do this with multiple levels. And the answer is yes, to some extent. But you're kind of multiplying the complexity of your setup, because for just one level, you need to pay attention to the setup of the ground level and the top level. If you want to try that and do that on several levels, you have to kind of balance all those levels to whatever you need for. And I'm not sure if I really want to play around with that more right now, because I'm already confused. I believe someone who's just chilling out and watching the stream might be completely confused. So instead, we would just sum it up and say, okay, follow the instructions. If you have a roof level or a canopy level, that's quite easy. Be aware that it can get really complex if you want to do that on several levels. And because I'm completely losing track now of what I wanted to do. Yes, I've seen a question from Doc. I have noticed when testing sharing a campaign map with a player so they can move tokens, if I assign them to control a token, but then move the token up or down a level, they lose control. That is correct. The thing is that we are currently in the viewer, we are treating... We've built the campaign manager, and the campaign manager is now, I would say, about 2 years old. And back then we've built the campaign manager not with tokens. Tokens came later. So we've treated every level as a separate kind of instance that you're acting on. So when we later introduced tokens, we then introduced also the send them up, send them down. And then we suddenly introduced, later we've introduced the token movement, so players can move tokens. So that is exactly why for later this year, there is a campaign rework on our table where we now need to take all those things that are kind of wild growing and kind of unify them, bring them back together so that they work. Currently, when you're switching a level, it basically means that you have to do the adjustments for the level again. And I think there are some other, like for example, switching a map requires you to, when you switch a map, you need to place the tokens again. I think that we should find a way where you could say, okay, when I'm switching the map, I have an exit point and an entry point for each map. And the second I bring my players to the next map, they automatically appear around the entry point. I think that would be cool. Okay, let's do a quick summary. For the token level, the important part, what you're looking at the token level is this switch here beneath the fog of war when you have selected the stage. This is the cover level. So this is your stage, this is your ground floor, and the cover level defines the canopy. So you set that here, and then as you've seen, the thing I was struggling with quite often because I forget about that is for the next level, you need to turn off the stage view, and you should or should not turn off the darken stage. And then you actually need to, so if the clock tower roof would not exist, you would turn the fog of war off. You say, okay, on that level, I don't need fog of war because that level is my fog of war. And if you're starting to go bonkers like I did and you're trying to do this over multiple levels, then you're basically going step up, next fog of war level, cover level, step up, next fog of war cover level, step up, step up. And I believe what you actually could do is, if you're building it from the ground up, you could actually duplicate the levels upwards with the stage and with the canopy and with the trees, instead of trying to make this a view down. Because then you would always... Okay, you know what? I want to try this now. Before I'm signing off, I would feel terrible if I sign off today and I'm like, oh, I should have tested that. So let's get rid of all of this stuff. Okay, token level. So I've deleted everything. I have to completely start now, but we're going to make sure that we have everything we need. So this is the base, and we're now building it up on a different approach. I'm duplicating the token level with the stage, with the floor, with everything, and I'm calling this Canopy. No, we're calling this first roof, because that's what it's going to be. First roof. Okay, and this is going to be, this is bugging me. This is ground level. Okay, so when we're on first roof, all we want to do is we want to add treetops. Tree. Well, now I'm taking those. Okay, so we're going to add one. Loading images. Here, there, here. I'm just adding them on top of my tree trunks. There you go. That one actually, no, but well, let's leave it like that. And then I need a roof. Roof. I'm just, you know what? It's boiling hot in here. I think I'm now at 33 degrees Celsius in here, and the lights and the computer, I'm melting. So I just because I don't want to go to bed and say I haven't tested it, I haven't tried it out. I just want to see if that approach is actually helping. I want to test that now. Why do you not like me rotating? Well, we're going to do it like that. Oh no, my keyboard is losing batteries. Nah, don't do that. Rotation, 90 degrees. You are above walls. And you are scaled to 200%. Okay. Hello. Hello, everyone. Okay, so now we have the roof here. And I feel like I should see if my keyboard is doing what it does. Maybe, maybe not. We do not know. Okay, mouse is working, keyboard is working, map is loading. Wait, where did that come from? Okay. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, I have to start over. I don't know why, because I probably forgot to save. Did I save? I believe I saved. Okay, so once more, token level is called ground level. There you go, duplicate. This is going to be my roof level. Probably, although I was really thinking I did save. Okay, tree. There we go, treetop. Okay, and for forecaster, we are going to rotate the tree. Make it bigger, smaller and bigger. Let's rotate that one. Variation. Okie doke, but we are on the roof level, which means I want to have my roof. Roof. You are above walls and you are going to be this big. There you go. Save. Okay. So this is actually the same level from below and above. I could technically, and if that's a bigger level that I'm duplicating, I should get rid of this in here, because on the roof level, I actually wouldn't need the room, the walls here, and I actually wouldn't need the, maybe I should get rid of them. Maybe I should get rid of them. Yes. Okay. But on the roof level, let me see, we have the fog of war needs to be, yes, it needs to be active, but we're going to pick a cover level. Once we have a level above, which means we're going to duplicate that one. This is going to be the clock tower roof, okay? Which means that on the roof level, I should have added my so we because I see, Ben, I see that you say I spend all my time in Google Docs, which saves all the times automatically, so I forget to press it in everything else now. Yes, and this is an ongoing discussion in the office. It's a balance between how many requests do we constantly send to the server back and forth, and how much convenience do we want to add to the editor. And to be honest, it's still on the roadmap. It's still something that we want to do. We just need some testing. And now with over 300,000 people using DungeonFog, we need to make sure that we're not accidentally kind of burning down our server. But I think eventually we're going to figure out a good way, a good balance to make something like an autosave that is saving to the server. Because keep in mind, DungeonFog actually has an autosave that is taking the is storing in the local browser database, but it's not constantly saving to the server. So saving to the server is actually something you need to or what? Oh, right. I was just sorry. I got confused because this is above walls and it shouldn't be above walls. And this is normal, and this is 10 and 10. Okay. Okay, so it's actually always building from the lower. I'm not making the stages transparent. It's always showing the stage. And now I'm here, which again doesn't need the wall, but it needs the rounded roof. Something like that. And because I like that in the previous, I would like, I would like to give it clouds. Hip, pop, poo. And there's a big one. Okay. So all I need to do from the bottom up, this is fine. The cover level needs to be the roof level. No. Clock tower. I think everything needs the clock tower roof as their top. I think so. We will see if that's correct. And the clock tower roof, that one should not have fog of war. Okie doke. Let's put this over here. Let's create a player window. Make it a little bit bigger. And assign it, I need to be in the ground level. And assign it to my token. Question is which token? It says there are 3 on the maps. I don't think that there are 3 on the maps. Oh, right, because stupid me also duplicated all the tokens. Okay. And The range in squares should be, let's say, 3. Interesting. That kind of works. Let me see if it works if I send it. Okay, so that kind of works. I like it. I'm actually exploring it. That's a weird thing. It really looks like you're watching your eagle eye. You're watching the player token from far above as he's moving under the clouds into, let's go inside. Let's go inside into the room and exploring the inner. Okay, that's really cool. I think we just need to find a way to make it much easier to grasp for the setup. So now comes the real test. Let's send this up 1 level. Okay. And there is a wall. I can't enter it. So I want to fly up. No, I think I haven't set it up properly. If I wanted to fly up, let me see what happens. Up. And unpause. Yeah, no, it works. I can sleep safe and sound today. I have beaten the beast. I kind of overcomplicated my own map just by trying to be clever with all those transparent stage, transparent canopy, like canopy level, and I've tried to make it very, very complicated instead of just saying, oh wait, I'm just treating each map as a completely own map. I'm creating the bottom layer. I'm duplicating the bottom layer, which means that I'm paying attention to what is outside. This is what I want to duplicate onto the next layer. And then I'm adding a roof to the next layer. And then I'm drawing. So let's send my player downstairs for one more. And unpause. Now he's inside the... He broke through the roof inside the tower. Which reminds me that I wanted to say something about this specific situation here. And trying to make this with transparent stages actually got me confused quite a lot. And then everything fell apart. The second I started to do this on a very basic approach where I say, okay, I'm duplicating each layer, but I'm just drawing on top what now is visible from that new perspective, made it work, even with multiple layers. So my lesson, the lesson I've learned today is don't overthink it. Just try to make it with an easy approach. And then it can work. So it can actually, I'm pretty impressed, it can actually work over multiple levels. Setup isn't that complicated because now we're not dealing with the different stage visibilities. I still think that there is space for improvement in terms of UI and ease to set up. So we're going to work on that once we tackle the the campaign manager rework. Let me quickly check the chat. I personally would. Okay. So I think that's it for today. That's what I wanted to show. And I forgot about it again. So the only thing that is not really working is we can't pinch holes through levels. It's just not doable at the moment in the editor. Actually, this tower, if this tower would be built like regular clock towers would be, then it would punch a hole through the roof and would show the level below. And it's in the current editor, this is not doable. because masking is not in there. And as far as I remember, I've been talking to Andy about that. He said that is quite complicated. That would need a complete rework of the way that we're rendering rooms. So this is most likely something that will stay that way for a while until we really have the time to tackle that. I don't want to make false promises because actually I don't know, but I think, if I remember correctly, Andy said that when we're doing the advanced rooms rework for this year, we are going to spend time on investigating if and how we can solve that problem. Hi Schnitzel. But generally speaking, the only way to solve that for as of today, from a visual standpoint for your players, is to fake it. Which means that if you go to the ground level, let's assume that this table is sitting here. And I think this is just a render glitch at the moment. So I need to duplicate that. Let me keep the exact position, go up and make it a little bit smaller. Place it here. And the same goes for the floor. The floor should be now. You're not liking me today. The floor should be now at 80%. So if the player is he's kind of looking down, but he's not actually. It's two separate rooms with two separate floors, so he's not really looking down into the layer below. But that would be a way to fake it at the moment. What happens if you don't turn off Fog of War for the cover level? Oh, right, the brushing question. Thank you. Okay. What happens if I don't? Okay, let's try that. And that means that I'm going to switch windows quickly. And let's start from the bottom. So we're going to I'm just cheating here. I'm making this map decoration. I don't want to put them all above walls separately. So the ground level, what you're saying is the roof level actually has the Fog of War enabled, and the clock, this one is the one that has the Fog of War disabled. We're going to enable this, and we're going to see what happens while we progress from level to level. And I think I know what's going to happen, but we're going to see. So, where's my token? It's currently here, so we're sending the token downstairs. And we're moving the token here, so we're going to start over. Boom. Okay. So the reason that we're seeing black at the moment is, I believe, because the clock tower is now having a black Fog of War and nothing that tells it to use a different color. I would assume that if I change that color here, it might affect the Fog of War here as well. We will see. Yes. So the Fog of War is a black thing that is just rendered on top. And if the topmost layer has a... What just happened? I don't know what just happened. Because you didn't see it. It was just me seeing it where something flickered. And I was checking the stream like, are you seeing that too? But you didn't. OBS did something to me. So now to your question, what happens if I brush away that fog? Okay, let's do that. I'm so utterly confused. Where do I need to brush away the fog of war though? And what happened? Okay. Step by step. I'm on the ground level. So brushing away the fog of war from here actually wouldn't do anything else. Yes, got that. So your question is what happens if I brush away from here? Let's see. Nothing, apparently. Let me see the fog of, yes. But we are on the roof. We have the fog of war enabled. It has just a cover color, which is correct. I have started to manually remove, oh, I forgot to. Update. Okay. So I would assume that what you've predicted came true. Brushing away the red is the fog of war from the top roof level. That is still enabled. That's the top color. So we have brushed away the red fog of war from the roof, which allowed the roof to be visible for the lower levels. Not sure if that is actually something you can utilize, other than being completely confusing. So yeah, that gives me headaches. Let's go back in here and say this is fog of war turned off. Let's go back to the ground level. Let's turn it on, and I feel so much better now. And here I can control the fog of war just for myself, so I can see things. And why are you? Oh yeah, of course. My bad. I was expecting the table to still be here, and now it was suddenly here, but we've moved it. Right. Thank you. I'm glad I could satisfy your curiosity at the cost of me being utterly confused now. But that was our X-course for today on how to do fog of war with cover levels. I think it was quite an interesting evening. It went from, oh look, this is super easy, you just need to do that, to, oh my god, I'm so confused, what did I do? To then sorting it out, understanding that I was just thinking too complex, reducing complexity, everything's working fine. And then Ben Clayton came in with an interesting request, and I'm back to being completely confused. I hope you've enjoyed my fog talk. Nice, I like that one. I'm going to steal that. This is going to be for the next Circle of World Builders, I'm going to close it like that. And I keep forgetting to call it the Mapness. Yeah, I need to stick a post-it somewhere. We've also, so Fest is a German word for celebration, and we're going to have a little barbecue, not this weekend, but the week after. We're going to have a little team barbecue that I have decided to call the Dungeon Fest, which is going to be cool because we're going to visit a really amazing castle here in Austria, and we're allowed to go into the dungeons of the castle. Unfortunately, I've called him today, and I said, can we visit the dungeons? And he said, yes, you can, but we've renovated them. They're just basic basements. And I'm like, oh, damn it. But we're going to visit the basic basements of that castle. and the towers, and afterwards we will all find together here, and we will do team barbecue, and it's going to be called the Dungeon Fest. Someone in I think, wasn't it you, Forecaster, who came up with the Dungeon Cafe? That one of my employees decided that he wanted to work from a cafe, and we were coming up with names for that, which is the Fogoccino and the Cafe Fog Cafe? I can't remember. Yes, it was you. Of course it was you, Forecaster. Oh, Varanasi, you got lost in the dungeons of the Doji's Palace in Venice once. I can imagine that. That must have been an experience. I don't think I ever got lost as a child. I think my parents tried to lose me some on a few occasions, but I kind of always found back. When we moved to this apartment, I say apartment, I'm still used to calling my home an apartment. When we moved to the house here, for the first time I had the opportunity to build my perfect man cave, and I've created an amazing dungeon for my party. And I was actually thinking about a way to have a fog machine working down there while we play. But I've read a lot of reviews, and they seem to be very loud. So I'm not sure if I really want to play along with a projector humming, and kind of the fog machine making noise as well. Yes, so I was thinking about dry ice as well. And I think we're going to... I was looking for dry ice. I didn't find anything like easy to reach, easy to get. But I think probably I want to do something like a Halloween special for my parties, and then we're definitely going to. I will find a good spot to get dry ice, and then we will do something with ice, not with ice, with fog steaming down, boiling in a pot, or whatever we want to do. Just put the projector in a soundproof box. Well, the projector isn't... The projector is silent. I was looking for a very silent projector. It's doing bass noise, so you can hear it. But I'm like, that's fine. Music is usually louder than the projector without being disturbing. Like, the music is so loud that that's not the case. No, I've read that the fog machines, they seem to be very loud. And so I didn't want to order one, test it, and send it back. So I kind of abandoned the idea of a fog machine in the basement. Yeah, I can put the fog machine in a soundproof box. But I think it needs to have an opening, otherwise it's kind of a Schrodinger's fog machine, right? Yeah, but then if I poke holes into the box, then the sound can come through the holes as well. Are you not getting it? Oh my god. Exactly. Schrodinger's, that's exactly the thing. I would just put a box down there and say, don't open, or the sound can come out, but trust me, there's fog in there. That's what I'm doing. Solved it. It's also very cheap. I think that's a very cheap approach instead of buying a fog machine and the fog liquids and all that stuff. I'm just building Schrodinger's fog box. All right. I think we're getting very, very far away from map making, and also I'm pretty sweaty already, so it's still warming up in here. So have a nice evening, have a nice afternoon, have a nice morning, wherever you are. Don't forget, next week, Tuesday, is going to be mapping it out. which is our monthly day stream. Guy will be hosting again, and I will be answering questions. We will be showing the latest build. We will be showing what we've been working on over the past couple of weeks. And hopefully, I can't guarantee it yet, but there is a high chance that next Tuesday is also, before the stream, is also the time when we hand out the new Deus patch, given that it is tested thoroughly and we're happy with it. With that said, thanks for the great evening. Thanks for the great time. Thanks for sticking with me through my highs and lows today between being in the zone and being completely lost. Have a great weekend soon. It's almost there, and happy map making. Bye.